Made by Morky.
Yeah, I pretty much took the old one.
Oopsies.
Most of the stuff was still relevant, so I just changed the stuff that wasn't and added new things.
That's what we call working smarter, not harder.
I feel dirty. Fucking. I can't believe my mage is. I can't believe my mage is fucking spec like this. This is just fucking so cringe.
He's playing Arcane.
It's fucking.
Are
I've
you
converted you to the
enjoying
dark.
Arcane?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Nah, bro. 10.0.5 when Spellslinger becomes viable again. Let's go. You just hit barrage spam. It's the barrage spam, bro.
All your hopes and dreams are going into this now.
You fucking wake me up when fire's good.
Yeah, when they finally tune it. Because at the moment, it plays so nice.
I mean, it's good now. It's just dog shit.
Yeah, it plays nice. Its numbers aren't there.
That's my consistent experience across all four of the guys I've leveled. The good spec is tuned worse. Like the fun one that makes you feel cool is like, nah, don't use it. It's
I feel like they finally did
I think
the
though
thing
Arcane, I think Fire seems to be mostly tuned with everyone else. Arcane's just stupid, so they just need to nerf the shit out of Arcane, and then Fire will be fine.
Fire's below Frost. I think Frost is the spec you're talking about. I think Frost is on par with everything else. Arcane's absurd, and then Fire's just bin.
I don't know. Just going. Everyone's been posting like sims of like around that early 700,000 range, and then Jojo's like 850.
Yeah, I mean Arcane's disgusting.
So did Romo.
So like they just need to nerf Arcane, so it's with everyone else at like the early 700s, and then
like 800.
As someone who's probably going to play Arcane, I am down for it to be nerfed. I fucking hate this spec.
I just want them to, if they buff fire, like 100% Robo's gone to fire.
Absolutely.
If I would be going to fire at this point, I'm playing a fucking dumpster.
But you don't like just spinning your scroll wheel for the entire fight?
I mean, I actually kind of, to be honest, it feels really satisfying to get it right.
What's your rotation? Frozen Orb, Ice Lance, Ice Lance, Ice Lance, Ice Lance, Ice Lance.
Yes, they're hitting the dummy the other day, and then you post your Arcane logs.
Then Frozen Orb again.
Oh, sorry. Don't forget Shifting Power. Frozen Orb, Ice Lance.
Rob.
No, I'm looking at some of the things coming up. The way that they're going to be changing the Arcane rotation with those new talents is pretty huge. I do like the idea of having that 3-part rotation, Robo.
Yeah.
Missiles, blast, missiles, barrage, blast, missiles, blast, barrage. So it's a 3-part.
Yeah, you're saying lots of words right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
1001001.
Pretty much.
Oh my god, I saw it too!
Dude.
Fuck you, Zo.
Stop yelling at me, Valley. I'm fucking coming. Goddamn.
Wait, doesn't keep yelling usually help?
Most of the time.
Even weirder when they sound the same. They're just yelling at himself.
That's normally how I do it. I just listen to myself.
Listen to yourself yell.
Yeah, that's it.
Just reminds you of like bad times and raids. And then you just fucking release.
I just go through old VODs of streams. Listen to Morky get angry.
He is. I fucking got fucked! Oh.
Oh, Connor.
Bring it back.
Shit. Jojo.
Yep.
Where do we get the pattern
Have you? Check your butthole.
or the creeping carpet?
Uh,
What? Fucking
Yeah.
learn.
no,
Where
you.
did it come from? War spear?
How do you actually get these Titan disc fragments, by the way, for this half fucking spark?
Go do
Kill
dungeons.
res.
You do like 2
Open
dungeons.
chest.
and
Yeah,
you get enough.
it's,
Dungeons.
it's 2.5 dungeons.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was expecting to get like 10 per dungeon. Actually having to grind. I'm like, you know, I gathered some people to do the fucking dungeons, and it's just like, oh, well, that was fucking easy.
I mean, I just did it when I was doing my weekly rep farm for all the rares.
Flying carpet isn't.
I did the same.
I do flying carpet. Oh shit.
Oh no, they're buffed. They're buffed Unholy by 0.6%. Unholy might be back on the table, boys.
Opium's real.
G'day, everyone.
Is it
Oh.
Alright.
Morning.
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 Yo.
Brunch.
Ooh, brunch.
Where's the raid
Man
group?
of
Get
culture.
me in.
Yeah, why is there no invites?
Invite at 7. Trust.
Oh, here we go. This is what I need.
Looking at that list that Hypno sent, it's actually looking like Frostfire Fire is the worst spec in the game right now.
I believe that's the case.
Is it even worse than BM? Because that's saying a lot.
It's worse than Pack Leader Survival.
I'm pretty sure that's better than Pack Leader BM.
No,
Anyway, saying Outlaw Rogue.
it's not. Looking at this, Pack Leader BM sitting at 1.4, 1.3, whereas
Like 1.3 damage, yeah, that's accurate.
no, but whereas Pack Leader Survival's 1.18.
BM is damage per minute, not damage per second.
Ah.
They had to like bump it up a bit to make it look better.
Damage per raid, what are you talking about?
I just love how the destruction diabolist is just send help. That's the only note. That's great.
Which spec did
Yeah,
they
it's
fuck
pretty
with
bad.
warlocks? They fucked something
Affliction.
with warlocks recently.
I don't understand because Warlock was so good on the, and it wasn't even that broken, and then they've just like taken the rotary to it. It is just nothing.
Destro's already getting fucked in both asses from like this hero tree is being like not destruction-y at all.
Like it's already dead, Blizzard. Just fucking stop plugging it.
Stop.
Dead.
He's already dead.
Enhancing the highest. Woo.
Yeah, I hear enhance is the difficult to play though.
If this is going to be the fucking totemic shit, God help us all. Well, fuck it, oh. This is the dumbest shit ever.
This
Please
is
delete.
Stormbringer sitting 1.63.
Yeah, but they nerfed it. That's the thing. I'm pretty sure it's going to get nerfed twice before the thing, and it's going to make totemic
Oh,
the
yeah,
one you
but-
have to play, and that's going to fucking suck.
If Totemic becomes the best enhanced spec, I'm literally deleting my shaman and putting Potmaster on something else.
I'm gonna have to call Face Roller's
Hello.
wife and tell him that he's been doing cheeky shit on WoW, so he gets stuck off the game forever, so I can main warrior.
Hey, that's
Hopefully.
what my buddy done, dude. He dumped
Well,
his
you better
shaman and went
get
to
them
warrior.
a fucking shadow priest.
I got lucky. I got asked to play warrior because Face Roller's gone. I'm kind of fucking like happy about it now. But first I was like, oh no, this is bad. Now I'm actually stoked. Fucking
Warrior, warrior.
Can you
is
get him
looking-
to can you get him buff fucking Void Weaver so I don't go back to warrior?
The warriors look like they.
Honestly,
good,
though,
dude.
Spicy. Looking at the difference in Sims here, though, it's a difference of like not even 40k.
Arms will go better in single target in some cases.
Fuck
I
arms.
think.
Yeah, fuck arms, dude.
But like Fury's just too
enhanced
fun.
damage
Like you just
tier
can't
set
like,
is
not look at it.
insane.
AoE
Hello?
fucking legitimately one
Hello.
button, dude.
Hello.
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 I'm just
Wait,
waiting till
Walker.
we'll kick it off at 7. So if you guys
on.
want to dip out for a bit, this will probably take like an hour and a half to go through everything that we've gotten so far. So, yeah.
About 2 hours, Bonnie speaking.
No, I'm doing
Oh,
it. That's a
God.
valid
No, no.
speaking. That's why I'm doing it.
If I was yapping, it'd be 2 hours.
I'm a bit slow. Can we do it at half speed?
Wait, 2 hours for the intro.
We
If
don't have to be
Valiant was
in-game for
yapping,
anything, right?
by
We
the
can
end we'd be
close
ready
game.
for raid invites on Wednesday.
Woo.
Did you just hide all the
Man,
channels
I
again?
couldn't even find the cricket thing, dude. I fucked up.
Oh, it's fucked up.
Dude, I'm going mad over here. I've been DEing for an hour just staring at it.
Quick question. Has anyone else gotten messages from anyone about not attending? I know Blue said he's going to be late. Nick's in America, so he'll be sleeping right now. Anyone else? So we're missing a couple still.
Heard from the raid leader that they weren't going to be chasing anyone up, and if they didn't
I'm not.
show up,
I'm not. That's why I'm asking if they've messaged you, because people aren't talking to me. Oh,
I heard Cambo's not coming.
oh yeah, he might not show up.
I just
shit,
love
Jack.
how the one person we all knew that wasn't going to turn up because he never reads Discord is not here.
Best kept secret that is, yeah.
The funny thing is he was told on Discord verbally yesterday or the day before, and in game, and Fallion posted on Discord. Like,
Are you talking about Cambo or real problem?
real
Real
problems.
problems.
Real.
Cool.
There was a paladin problem. Huh?
He's a DK now. No, he's a survival hunter.
No, he's not. He's a survival hunter.
The guy is
Yeah, well,
World of
that's-
Warcraft and he's still not here.
News to me, so
What's
doesn't bode well for me. I'm going to be honest with you.
what
Right,
class
well,
is looking like S tier this season?
Bonnie, are you really far from your mic or is it?
Yeah, I was sitting back.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Bro was relaxing. It was 6:59.
Bro's
man.
massaging his temples before he
He,
gets into
he
it.
has yet to lock in.
It is still currently pre-social hour.
1 minute.
I do
No,
like
we
that
don't have
Morphe's
to
the
want it
one that
yet.
wrote this.
This is the final
raid
countdown,
for
boys.
us as well.
We don't have to want it yet.
Bro, why is this priest standing next to his name? I punch women.
Whoa.
Fuck did you say?
He's probably an echo
Alright.
man.
He's a black gnome.
Alrighty.
Oh
Well,
dear.
Who just left? Someone left.
Valiant went to go get Blask, I think.
Yeah. That's cool. We'll start off. Thank you guys for joining us on Sunday. I know we're going to get back into it soon. Just thought we'd take the time to go over a couple of things for the season, our expectations. If everyone can jump in and watch my stream too, I have a PowerPoint up that we'll be going through.
There's a bit of you standing in front of like a board. With a
Are you
PowerPoint on
weathermanning
the
this
board.
shit,
It
Bonnie?
is,
Come on.
if you could see me, I'm standing up. No, I'm not. Cool. So first thing I'll address kicking it off. Some of you probably saw today that Cambo put a message in and left the guild. That was a decision that we as officers made. There was quite a few factors that came into that, and we decided that he wasn't the best fit for us moving forward in this season. We do have a backup Holy Paladin. His name is Kegro or Jiro. I haven't spoken to him yet, but he's in Discord at the moment. He's very good, so please make him feel welcome.
Hello.
No.
Jero's going to be our holy pally. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. Cool. I hope he knows that. So anyway, that's all.
He does.
No, he does. Cool.
Bro's just
and-
the fuck did you? What did you do? What did you sign me up for?
Yeah, no.
guess-
So yeah, Jero's going to be our holy pally, and Steps is going to remain our fifth healer.
Correct. I guess, is there any questions on that before we move forward? I do want to make it clear that as like we are trying to make this fun, and this at the end of the day is a game, and we want to have fun. We want to achieve goals. We will be looking at everyone individually this season. Not saying that we're making everyone a trial again and stuff like that, but if you are underperforming, please don't be surprised if you're not on the roster. We do have a massive roster that we need to cut down because I don't want to be running 6 different splits at the end of a season to try and get everyone CE. I just don't think that's fair on the Raiders and the people also sitting on the bench, potentially, who may or may not get a chance. Any questions on that before we kick this off? Nope. Cool. Alright. So, I clicked on it already. Thanks to Morky, we recycled his PowerPoint moving forward. But yeah, cool. So obviously, officer team, little bit of a change this season. I'll be raid leading. Kira will be DPS officer. So I guess the whole point of the and Valiant will remain the healing officer and Shifty GM. Whole point of the DPS officer is, and this is partly my fault as well, not being as proficient in logs as I probably could have been, but I've definitely tried to step that up. The whole point of this is to utilize them in fights for, say, the second last and the last boss. So think Tindril and Farak, right? Like, you need to optimize when you're doing things. Obviously, we're going to hear Voodoo complain about 6 million times about how he can't hold CDs and he's going to need to use them to be able to use them at certain other points. But we will play around that. So, is there anything you wanted to add on to that, Kira?
No, I don't believe we have. Just Biko, were you playing Dev or Org this season? I think you said Dev initially, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you're speaking big, you're not coming through.
It's producing light, but no sound.
Either way.
You can use the,
I'm
the
happy
chat
with
in
either.
the Discord as well.
And if you are Org, I'll be doing the Org sheets again this season.
Yeah.
I'm aiming to sort of, if I need to talk to you about an issue in general, all of us, if I need to talk about any DPS about an issue, I'll sort of just be upfront about, okay, what is the deficit? What are the things you're doing well? And sort of give you, I guess, positive reinforcement. You've done this well, please improve this. Yeah.
Obviously, as well, I just want to add on to that. Like, we are not the masters of your classes as well, right? Like, everyone knows their own class probably better than we do. If you're trying to argue with me about how to play Shadow Priest, I'll probably tell you to get fucked. But like, I'm not going to sit there and argue with, say, Chad on how to play Warlock. I know he's better than me, but we will look into things that can help you. We're not telling you that you're bad at the game. We're just looking at things that might be better suited for other places. We don't want a repeat of telling everyone to go on single target and then we find out your full AoE spec padding because it makes you look better for passes. That's not what this is about. We're about doing this as a team and we want to get through it all together. Cool, moving on. So Valiant did up this really great sheet. It's a massive Excel spreadsheet, and it shows obviously us and what we achieved in Awakened, which was fantastic for a guild that wanted to do just a couple, first 4, first 3, whatever, and chill. We pushed through and we got literally all done within that Awakened, which is, I think, really good, and everyone deserves a pat on the back for that. Also, this here, just remind me, Fal, were these a 2 or 3 night guild, Arcane Energies?
Yeah, I can talk to this if you want.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, easy. So what I did here, guys, was this is from our season 3. So what I did was I grabbed our progression, right? Ignore the numbers. That's just the minus weeks back from when I was doing the assessment. But essentially, you've got us in red, all right? Obviously, and then Arcane Energies, which was we were Oceanics 47. I think we were Frostmourne 41, and Arcane Energies were Oceanic 32, and we were both 2 night guilds, right? So these are 2 night guilds, and what you can see is we lost on the right hand side. It shows you where they gain an extra 4 weeks on us, right? So Null Root, we started Mythic a week late when we won't be doing that again. So we're going to be targeting going straight into Mythic to make that make that up. We lost a week against these guys on Council of Dreams. If you remember, I think we could have had it a week earlier. And then on the Smoldron and Tindril, definitely we could have had those a week earlier as well, and we matched them on the Farak progress. So what I'm trying to say here is that we are capable of being that Oceanic 32, right? So it's you guys can all think back to the season and think about that, but yeah, it's just a nice visual to see, and it was actually a nice comparison against them to see. Actually, we're not that far off.
We also had a Spicy, just one thing. We also had a massive chat about like our Tindril and our Smolderog thing, right? Because these two were massive sticking points for us. Like the Smolderon wall that we hit was, every guild hit a wall at Smolderon, and a lot of guilds broke at Smolderon. We got through it. It was rough, and we don't want to repeat of that. The Tindril thing, there was a couple of weeks, I think probably 2 full weeks, we lost. Due to Morky being in the mountains, not being able to tank, Hypno tanking one night, Zol tanking one night. Like we didn't have tanks. We have backup contingencies for that going into this season. So if Blastgore, Terra can't make it, then we do have a third tank who is willing to tank for us, which will be Nick, but he is not here. But he is aware of that and he does know that. So yeah. Sorry, Spicing, what was your question?
I was just going to say graph on the left. Like it looks like we're higher up, so aren't we winning?
Yeah, take it as that. No. So it's minus numbers, right? So they got it 19 from the point that I did the assessment. Arcane Energy's got it 19 weeks prior, and we got it 15 weeks prior. So in essence, they ended up 4 weeks ahead of us.
But it's just a nice visual, like Valiant said, nice visual to see that like we definitely trended on the right trend, minus these two, which just this one kind of unfortunate, and Smolderon, yeah, we don't talk about Smolderon. But anyway, moving forward. Cool. As Valiant just said, we will be going into Mythic as soon as it opens, essentially. The week that it opens, we'll be in there on that Sunday night at this time. We will be progressing the first boss. We're going to counteract this by first 4 weeks are going to be for normal and heroic clears. I'll get more into that later. I think there is another slide on that. So I won't touch on that too much right now, or I'll come back. But yeah, so 7 to 10, normal time as always. First 4 weeks will be a non-alt night. It will be a mains night. You won't be absolutely expected to attend. If you don't come to the Wednesday, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's not putting in the effort, he's not coming Sunday. Completely understand, people have lives, kids, dogs, whatever. Like, but if you do miss that Wednesday, it is expected that you will find another raid to do it with. You will pug it, you will do whatever you need to do to get that full clear on before Sunday night. If I look up on WoW Audit and I see that you haven't done that, that's when I'll be starting to question your position in this team. Anything from officers on that one? Nope. Cool. Sweet.
Can I just make
Yes,
a comment?
yes.
For anyone that needs a hand on those other nights, just let me know. I have 3 or 4 other guilds that I do help or raid with that would be able to put us in there as well.
Nerd.
Yeah.
And Aliat, I believe that's a Thursday night, right? That they run.
Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and they also do catch up Tuesday nights, but that's very rare.
Just touching on that, I was gonna do alt runs again this season. For the first few weeks on the Thursday as well for the guild for alts. So if a main was to miss it, I was thinking about doing that for the first few weeks and back to the original Wednesday for alts as well.
Yeah, great point. Chad has said that moving into the season he'll be running, or he's an absolute degen at this game. He's played 70 days in a row, which is fucking phenomenal.
Embarrassing.
Very. So after the 4 weeks of, our quote-unquote mandatory main Wednesdays, he's going to be running that with the alts and stuff. I just want to touch a point on that too. Please don't take the fucking piss with that. Chad dedicates a lot of time to doing that, and I don't want people showing up to his raid that are, 50 item levels under what they should be and expecting a carry. It's not a carry, it's get in, get out, have a fun alt night. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Cool. Mythic kill schedule. So a bit of an estimation for this.
Bonnie, can I just
yes.
ask a question there? Just on that situation, just because I know that from Chad's perspective, he's running it on the Thursday. I'm assuming that given the first month or so going into normal heroic, we are going to be RC loot cancelling that.
Yes. So we'll touch on loot when we get to the loot page, but short answer for the moment, yes. All guild raid nights will be RC loot cancelled.
Okay, so even Chad's alt runs?
Alt runs, no. Right?
Alt runs. So I guess we can play
If a main
that, but
misses it, maybe we might do something.
Wouldn't that just be priority to mains if they say miss the Wednesday heroic clear, for example?
That's
I'm
what I would say personally.
hesitant to agree with that, because what I don't want to happen is someone not come to Wednesday and then go to Thursday expecting to be filtered
That's
loot.
exactly what I was worried about.
So I guess I'm putting that back onto you guys. Don't do that. Don't do that. If it's a trend that's happening, prepare to get a message from me and a voice recording from Chad screaming at you.
I raid Classic on Wednesdays, so it's unlikely
that's cool.
I'll be able to make Wednesdays.
That's totally fine. Are you able to make Thursdays?
Yeah, usually.
Cool. Sweet. Well, if you can make Thursdays, obviously don't want to burn you out with WoW as well, but if you go to Chad's Thursdays, we can possibly work something out for you.
I don't want to funnel loot like that. Not fun for anyone else involved.
Yeah, but like, we're a team of 25, right?
I'll be able to make the first 2 raid nights for Wednesday, because
I don't want you to be not discouraged.
Advantage.
Yeah, disadvantaged. I don't want you to be disadvantaged though because you're playing other games. Like I'm so open to that. You should have heard me today. I was screaming at COD. Like I like playing other games too. I don't want you to feel disadvantaged because you can't make.
Wait, did I miss COD rage? Fuck, dude, are you kidding me?
But yeah, I guess we can sort something out with moving forward with that. But leave it with us and I'll chat to you. Any other points on that? Wednesday/Thursdays? No? Cool. Sweet. Did I miss anything from that? Improve. Nope. Cool. Mythic kill schedule. So I couldn't find the one that Morky had done up for a Midrisil. However, this is our estimated kill schedule for this raid going forward. The fact that we're going in a week early as well is a massive advantage to us. We're looking at about 1 to 2 weeks, with these first 3 bosses, and then 3 to 5, blah blah blah. You can read. I'm not gonna read it word for word. Any points on this before I move on? Obviously, this is very, sorry, just one more thing. This is very, very, very estimated. We will see what it's actually like once the raid A opens and B guilds start killing bosses.
It'll all come down to raid tuning, right?
Correct.
Yeah, there's always a war boss, right? And there's a lot of speculation on which boss boss is. It may be. It's a shorter raid tier. Yeah, that's definitely one of them. Yeah,
I think it's both of those, to be honest.
And so it's where I'm going with this is Bonnie's already said it. This is a big estimation, and if we hit it, great. If we're correct, great. If we're not, don't get hung up on it. At the end of the day, refer back to that comparison we did. That's we were 4 weeks only compared, behind, and for reasons as Bonnie went through, for Null Root and Tindral and Smolderon. You think back to that. Don't use this as something that we have to stick to, or as a guiding, I mean.
I do have one question on the last 2 before Anseric. Then, if that's like, once we lock one of those down, are we like locked in onto Anseric? No more reclears, probably.
That may depend on either the difficulty of the ones that we've killed, or it will depend on the timing and loot and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it'll be more adjusted. Because I mean, if it ends up being Nexus Princess is easy as crap and we knock them down and we may end up doing another re-clear, but it will entirely depend on the time what we're actually looking at, really.
Yeah.
My big thing is that 6 to 11 week period is really rough for it being Christmas period.
Correct.
Oof.
I was thinking that.
That is right smack bang in the middle of the Christmas period. And I think 6 weeks prog is going to be really rough if we are at the halfway mark of trying to progress through those two bosses. And if we've got one down and not the other, I would say that is...
Sorry.
That is something that's going to be pretty rough to deal with as well. Because that's like 2 to 3 weeks off for some people.
So, just a point on that. So, we're cancelling Christmas. No one's allowed to spend time with their families. We raid. Fuck you all. Yay!
I like that. I like the sound of that.
I appreciate the bold approach.
Didn't that Chinese guild do that when they were in the hotel? Didn't they cancel Christmas or some shit? They cancelled something. I'm cooked, I don't know.
Capitalism, that's what they cancelled.
They cancelled Trinica.
Yeah, so we can always extend as well, right? Like extending is a thing, so we don't have to constantly re-clear if it's too hard, or we can re-clear if it's easy and we feel confident doing that. These two here are going to be hard based on what I can see. Think Smolderon, think Tindril. It's going to be interesting. We don't want people to burn out, but we still want to keep progressing. Any final points from anyone on this before we move forward?
Is the suppose leave and things like that? Is that going to be better track this expansion, other than just posting it in a inside of a Discord chat message that then gets lost after time?
Yeah, we will track that. I'll keep a, I guess, manning roster of what's happening. If you'd like, we can do that.
Excel spreadsheet or something that's just open to everyone.
Yeah, I'm happy to do
Google
that.
Google Docs or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm happy to do like a Google Docs, and you can just chuck in the dates you're not going to be here. Please don't go fucking with it though. Like, just don't go typing random shit in it. Yeah. Sweet, cool. Expectations. So, expectations. 90% or above attendance. I guess good segue from the leave. Understand people, like, everyone's human. They want to take time off. If they're going on holiday, got to take the fish for a walk, whatever. We still require that. If that is happening, let us know. Or vice versa, once we come up with this other thing, chuck it in there. We'll review it. Yeah, cool. Class spec, consistent study of logs, talent builds, rotations. I mean, this is like bare bones of playing at a mythic rating level. You should know how to play your spec. I don't want someone to come to me 4 weeks into the tier and go, "Oh, my class got nerfed. I want to play something else." I would be hesitant to accept that. There is some people that are very good at the game and can pick up a class in 2 days. But yeah, make sure you are consistent and keeping up to date with everything to do with your class. If you feel you're underperforming, seek assistance from us. If you do feel like you're falling behind a little bit, reach out. We're literally here to help. I'm kind of taking a step back from 20 million alts this season, and I want to do a lot more of being there for you guys to help you guys out. Similar to what Morky did, just less angry.
Request anger at all?
I mean, yeah. Sorry, say that again. What was that? Can we request anger?
Yeah, can we have it if it's, you know?
All right, meet me on Black Ops 6, and that's where I get angry.
Just fuck up a mechanic, he'll give you the anger.
Sweet. So a bit of a counterpoint to what I just said, but if you do want to switch class, obviously if you're playing Shadow Priest and it's absolutely dog shit, and the only reason I'm there is to press power word Fortitude, we are open to swaps. We do have pretty much doubles of everything for raid comp, so we can make it work. I will just need some confidence from you that you're going to be able to perform, and a bit of understanding from yourself as well, that say you swapped from, I don't know, we'll just take Rec for example. If he swapped off Hunter and he's like, I want to go back to something else, I'd be like, yeah, great. You may not be having a core spot in the prog fight anymore because we need a warrior. for example. Is there any questions on that? Everyone kind of understands that?
What about, like, if I'm filling the same role? So can I swap between Unholy and Frost?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't care about that. There might be some fights that we say, hey, we want you to play Unholy because it's got a huge burst, single target per burst on this sort of thing. But that will be play by ear, right? Like if we require something of you, then we will. You know, if we want Chad to play Destro one. But that also comes down to you guys as well. We're not here to do absolutely everything. If you see that, like, better guilds than us, Hall of Fame guilds, are playing... I'll take Chad, for example. They're playing Affliction over Destro, and he rocks in and Demo. I'm going to be like, are you sure that's the best for you right now? Yeah. Make sense?
Yep.
Sweet. So, like, similar to last season's and every other... Also, is my mic still really staticky?
Yep.
Yep.
A little bit.
Oh, fuck. What the fuck?
It's not bad. It's just lightly in the background.
My headset's picking it up a fair bit.
There's a minor crackling from time to time.
Just a bit of white noise.
My bad. Sorry, guys. If it's picking up the fan. Anyway, similar to every other season that we've played, minimum of 4 keys a week. Minimum. That is a not negotiable. You will do 4 keys on your main every single week. Excuse me. Pretty much until we tell you that it's not a thing anymore. Every week there will be upgrades to get, whether that just means, you know, a trinket that, might be dog shit, but the item level's higher, you'll take it purely for the item level and the cheaper upgrade on something else.
If I may, Bonnie, one thing to also point out that this tier, Myth Track, is a lot higher item level than Hero Track gear. There's a whole other set of steps, so doing vaults is going to be critical for majority of the tier.
Correct. Yep. So we'll get into vaults and stuff a little bit after. I'm pretty sure Kira has a slide in there about that. Also, massive shout out to Kira. He did all of this. Very, very good. Weak auras add-ons. There will be mandatory weak auras and add-ons posted in each raid boss channel. We'll start to unlock as we get into the next phase of this tonight. We do have all of the channels set up for each boss, and as we talk to them, we will unlock each one so you can have a look at the raid plan and follow along yourself. However, like this note right here, there will be mandatory weak auras. We are not having weak aura prog every week with people that, you know, want to use Northern Skies over Liquid. If we say we're using Liquid, we're using Liquid. You're not to go and do your own thing. Yep, great point. Don't show up to raid and ask for a weak aura. It should absolutely already be in there. Biggest thing that I'm looking out for, and I'm going to drill it in every week, that I'm looking for people's participation and the want to be here. If you don't want to be here, you don't have to be. We have lots of great players just waiting for a chance. So I don't want to be carrying people for another tier. Cool. Raid. Prior to raid, shop 15 minutes prior. Enchanted gems, consumables, and gear repaired. Good grasp of each raid fight. This here, 15 minutes prior, is a must. If you're showing up 5 minutes before, that's fine. What I don't want is 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later. We are wasting time, and you are wasting 19 other people's time if you are late. Obviously, if there's something going on, car's broken down, fucking whatever, that's fine. Just don't be like, oh, yep, I was just in a dungeon. Sorry. No, not good enough. I'll get someone else to fill in. In raid, pots, flasks, feast, Vantis will be provided. So, again, this all comes from the fact that we did all the carries at the end of last season. Again, thank you for that. That was amazing. That has set us up for this tier. I'll be taking over as full finance officer. I've put everything on black, and it's paying out, I promise. I'm kidding.
So what you're saying is you're going to be bankrupt by first rate.
Correct.
Gotcha.
I've made 1.3 mil at the start of this X-Pack so far, and I'm down 450k, but I have diamond hands, so we're okay.
How?
I bought 8,000 ore, not thinking about it. Anyway, moving on.
Solid.
Jeez. Fuck.
We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it. The comms during pools, sweet. So this is another big thing. Everyone plays different, right? Like a lot of guilds, they can be chatty in pools. They can have fun, everything like that. Some people don't play like that. So use your better judgment. If you can see that people are getting frustrated with the constant chatter during pools about random fucking shit, cut it out. Again, we're here for not just you, the 19 other people as well. Release, repair, reduce downtime. Hardy Feast will be used. Cool. So there's a new feast this X-Pack as well. That is an hour and it lasts through death. So it's just a flavor pocket in a feast. We'll be providing all that. So that's all good. Someone about to talk.
I was just going to say, it's pretty expensive, guys. But that's the benefit for trade-off, right? So you eat, and it lasts through death. So if we'll probably run a ready check or whatever and put the feast down. Make sure you eat. If you miss it, I'll have a bunch of other crafted food in there, or you're going to go without. Because we're not. The whole point here is that we actually would probably go without. Because the whole point here is we want you guys to we want to turn around faster and not have to put down a feast every single time. There's obviously times when we're going to have a short conversation or bonding up a short conversation or whatever regarding like getting people's health back up. I may even throw some bandages in there just for people to use instead, right, to get their health up. Rather
always have
three mages,
have mage food.
Or mage food, yeah. I mean, look, the bandages work pretty fast, but anyway, just if it's put down, eat it. You're not getting another.
Yeah, cool. So like just a bit of like backstory on the downtime. Like we were averaging 30 to 35 pulls a night. If we can bump that number up, that would be great. More time on boss means more prog time, means more learning, means more boss death. Yes? Okay, got it. Cool. Sweet, don't AFK. If we're going back to the next boss or whatever we're doing, going through trash. Don't stand there and do your sims at that point and be uploading your logs at that point, or checking that you pressed fucking Shadow Word, Pain, and Vamp Hut by accident, sort of thing. You'll kill the boss, we'll go to the next. We can have a little chat, little break, 5-minute downtime between each bosses if we need to chat about things, and we can do that then. Ask questions, please, as well. Please don't be afraid to ask questions. If you do feel like asking a question on voice, or if you don't have a mic, whatever, send one of us a whisper and we can address it. That way you're not going to have 27 million people trying to answer the question. You have the 4 of us that know the fight just as well as everyone else, if not more. And then we can get the answer and move on. 10-minute break as well. So on the hour and a half, middle of the night, 10-minute break goes for the same as this here, right? The 15 minutes. It is 10 minutes, not 15 minutes, not 20 minutes. You can make it 5 if you want, but 10 break. Any questions on these two before I move on? No, cool. After raid, reviewing logs. Review your own logs. It's something that I've learned how to do in the past season, and I've gotten a lot better at. Review your own logs. See what the other guys that are better than us are doing. What we can be doing different. What you can be doing different to help everyone else out. Sweet. Roster.
And if you need help with logs, come see me. You guys all know that I spend way too much time in them.
Yeah, Valiant is very, very good at reviewing logs. So if you do need something, yeah. Cool. Rosters are aimed at progression, utilizing as close to optimal buffs and player composition. This one is a hit line, right? Like we all know you need a minimum of 14 or 15 raid buffs in your comp. So if you're getting sat because you're playing a double up, it may not be because, or you're playing something without a raid buff, it may not be because you're terrible, it's because we need a optimal raid buff and player composition. Mythic rating requires 25-man roster. So we went into this season with the initial questionnaire. I had 32 responses. Actually, I had more than that, but I cut it down to 32 people. Ideally, I want 25. And that is, I guess, the cutthroat truth. So if you want to be part of this 25, you need to show not only me, you need to show the other 24 people that you want to be here as well. Reclears. So obviously we're aiming at doing reclears. We almost achieved a Farak reclear, and that was massive prog between Sark, being race to world last. We were the 99th minute, and we got the CE, and Farak was, again, a lot better. We had a whole week or 2 weeks before the season ended, which was great. This season we're aiming at getting a couple of reclears in. We want to be reclearing. We want to be getting these people, everyone on this roster, we want to get them CE. And mounts as well. Some people love mounts. It's that +1 that gives them the little serotonin hit. Vaults.
Rebel.
Vaults. On reclears and rosters, vaults, they will be considered. Your vault choices will be considered, but they are going to be a secondary priority to us. Do not assume that, yeah, we got you in on the first boss, that means you guaranteed you'll get in a second, so you have a 2 vault. No, that is not how this works. That you should be doing, there is enough other stuff to do in this game to maximize progression for your own self every single week. Cool. Bosses that drop specific trinkets, cantrips may be rostered heavier towards people who desire them. However, optimal team composition remains a priority. This, if you take anything away from this slide, optimal team composition remains a priority. There. And that is just the way that they have built this game, unfortunately. Sweet. Cool. Loot. All tier weapons, cantrips, and trinkets will be distributed by 3-vote loot council. That loot council will be 3 of us / Brandon. So 4, I guess. All gear would be distributed on a percentage increase based on WoW audit. We'll run through, it is the next slide on this. We will run through on if you need a reminder on how to upload your logs to WoW audit so that we can see it. Granted that at the start of the season, it's going to be very, the percentage of your upgrades are going to be massive, and we know that. What we don't want is people feeling like they're not getting things, even though, it might be a 55% upgrade for you and a 30% for someone else. If it goes to the other person, don't think it's because we're favoring them. We're doing it for a reason. Everything is based off a reason. BOEs. So BOEs will be same as always. Half to you, half to us, half to the guild. And we'll sell them on the auction house. Unless there is an absolute BOE, I remember there was a rogue piece from a Drisel, I think, Voodoo, that was Biss, right? It's the wrists or something. Yeah, the headpiece. So that obviously, if some pieces are BOE, are Biss, we can discuss and work something out on that. But we will know that as we move forward. Is that a case for anyone's classes as of yet? I haven't looked into that too much.
Won't know until they release the.
They haven't released BOEs yet?
Yeah, I don't know if we know what they are yet.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, BOEs won't be found out until the actual first week because they are hidden from scraping.
Cool. So yeah, my bad. So mounts. Mounts will call raiders over trials. Hopefully by the end of this tier. I mean, we only have a couple of trials being Hero and Steps at the moment. I mean, this one, it's kind of, people have been for all the kills, done all the work. They're going to get prioritized over people who AFK in between trash packs. Cool. Profession patterns. Yes.
Sorry. I want to ask a question going back to the loot council side of things. Obviously, You've talked about the percentage upgrade and stuff. Are you guys also going to take a look at things like the amount of Mythic Plus done as a comparison? Because I know that previously people have felt like, oh, this has only been a 10% upgrade for me, where it's a 50% upgrade for somebody else. But at the same time, I've put in 50 dungeons and they've done 2. Is that going to be considered as part of the loot council side of things?
I think it really depends, right? If it's a trinket that specifically drops from raid, it doesn't matter how many Mythic Plus dungeons you do. If it's Biss for you, then or for that other person, we'll check on that. But also the Mythic Plus thing, right? We're only setting an expectation that you do 4 a week. If you do 40 a week, that's great. You've done 40 keys in a week. Our expectation is the 4. If you've done 2 and you're bitching about not getting a trinket, I'm going to point you straight to that Mythic Plus key timer and be like, alright buddy, do your 4 and you might have got it, sort of thing.
I think what Jojo was pointing out was lack of effort from some players and being rewarded for it is what he's trying to avoid with his question.
I'll probably jump in on this one because I know this has come up. Sorry, Bonnie. So here's the deal. Like, there are some people in here that have a lot more time than other people. There's work-life balances, and wow, right? So we set a minimum expectation of 4 Mythic Plus keys, and we think that's reasonable. Let's be honest. Every single person in here does the 8 and gets their 3 volt anyway, right? In the first 6-8 weeks or whatever, right? So but as far as it goes, by the rule book, if you've done your 4, you're considered, right? But we all care about this, and by the way, people that are putting the extra effort in, like to get those extra volts in the Mythic Plus, are rewarding themselves by getting higher item level, which makes them a bigger contender to be rostered, and coming in. But we are not going to go beyond looking at the 4 that we set as a minimum benchmark, because you have to consider every single person in here has different time availabilities, and we think 4 is reasonable, without getting overly sweaty. But we all know we do the 8, majority do the 8, but we're not going to look at someone and say, great, they've done 50 keys, and therefore they're more deserving.
And if they do below the 4 keys, then yeah, that will be something we will have to step in and sort out.
Val, I'll just get you to talk through the profession patterns as well. You had a really good cook on that in off the chat, so
yeah, right. Okay.
Chat through that one.
All right. So profession patterns. First drop of all those profession patterns is going to Shifty, and Shifty will determine at a point. It won't be done probably at the time, but it'll be determined who's going to give the pattern for. I'm not going to hide the fact that it's probably in the first instance going to be an officer, right? If possible. But if we're not proficient in it, it's 100% an option to give it to someone else, for them to do for the guild. Here's the deal, you got to be prepared to use it for the guild. If that's officers or per raider, if we give it to you guys, or any one of us, you have to be prepared. And that means using your concentration and stuff like that. Us officers, Shifties set up a couple of bin alchemy alts, so we can get the flasks and cauldrons. We're all setting up a couple of bin alts that we don't care about our concentration on, sort of thing. We're not looking to make money on, right? That's the deal. Part of our responsibilities as officers, right? We have to we have to kind of do this for the raid team, right? So, but don't think we're doing this if it gets handed to an officer as a we're making money on it. 100% no. You know how concentration works, right? That concentration is literally going to be using it for you guys and recharging it back up for the next person, right? But if we can't do that, and you guys have an ult, that can do it, and is willing to do that, put your hand up, and let Shifty know, right? So Shifty will make the determination from there. I'll stop on that first part and see if we've got any questions before I move to the second.
I will make the comment that some things are easier than other things. Some things you can set up so that you don't need concentration, but it's also not necessarily economically great to do it that way. It's fiddly. I can give you a more detailed answer if I look at every fucking thing tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely things from the raid that can be achieved and are already achieved without using concentration.
Yeah.
And I think accessibility is an important thing. Like, there are some officers that you don't really see on a lot, and if they have like the best in slot weapon enchant, that makes it hard to get to you to get it, comparatively to say Blue or myself or Jojo, who have the sweaty professionals and are pretty accessible most of the time.
Yeah, acknowledge. I'll respond to that and say, during during the season, you'll always see officers around, sort of thing. We're on a lot, but you guys, like as you pointed out, like there's you've nominated 3 people there that we're already aware of, right? That have great profession, sweaty guys, right? So don't think at any point here that we're like we will make Shifty at the end of the day. It's his decision, right? As GM, he'll make the decision, right? Sort of thing, and they will all be considered.
I think I'll just reiterate, and I'll bundle all of that up into a pretty simple statement, right? Like if one of the officers can't use the pattern to the best of its ability, right? And we reach out to someone and say, hey, this is yours, you will be expected that if someone from this team whispers you and goes, can you make this for me? You will do it. You will waste any bit of concentration you need. You will waste any bit of fucking, I don't know how crafting works, but the little map things that you can put in to get it rank 5, like you will do that for them as part of the deal.
Yeah, the issue is the concentration is very time gated. You get 1 concentration back every 5 or 6 minutes. Like if you have a recipe that you can barely do at rank 4 and it needs 600 concentration, which is quite normal, 650 I think is about the highest I've seen to rank 5. That's like you're
2.5 days.
Yeah, absolutely. No. So I totally get that. What I don't want is you making a fucking rank 3 weapon enchant for fucking Joe Blogs, and he's paying you 150k for it, and then one of us come to you and go, hey, I really need this. It's a 10k DPS upgrade. And you go, oh, I don't have any concentration for that right now. I just wasted it on X.
So is it just concentration we're going to have to save, or am I going to have to front up tier 3 mats for everyone that wants a bit of gear made?
I would imagine it's expected that the person getting the enchant will provide the mat.
Okay, clarify that.
I brought up Deki Jojo myself because there isn't a single enchant that drops in the raid that can't be achieved right now. Like, for example, I can do the weapon enchant without any concentration. So it's one thing to go, okay, we're going to put it on Shifty's alt, who doesn't really do all the patron stuff. It doesn't really, it's just a bin alt, and it takes 600 concentration, so he can do 3 a week comparatively to someone who could just churn them out like nothing.
Yeah, they've created a system where for a lot of things you need like full blue tools and every relevant point in the particular.
And that's right. Yeah, that's the comment there, guys. Proficient, right? So they have to be proficient to use it. We're not, it would be. This is all everything you're raising and talking about is everything we've already talked about already. So you guys are all on the money here, right? So. And as far as it's not going to be Shifty's or Shifty's alt, right? It might be me, or it might be Bonnie, or it might be Kyra. You guys all know I had a full Max Taylor and Enchanter, and I'm maintaining that tune, but primarily just to fucking do whatever it is for the guild if I need to, right? But I'm also not sweaty about it. So if someone else wants to do it, great.
I guess the whole point of this is to not drive a wedge between crafters in the guild, because it might seem that we are preferencing one over the other, which we are not doing. So if we can take that responsibility away, or that issue, however, it'll be on us that if, say, that there is a pattern that, I can't fully 100% craft, I'm mature enough to go, yep, okay, I'm going to give it to one of the several hundred fucking crafters we've got that can do it, sort of thing, with the expectation that it will be used primarily for us as a team, not to make money. Any further points on that?
I think that's a good summary.
Any more?
Extra drops there, guys. Look, we're having some thoughts, right? So it's a little bit TBD again. Whoever the extra drop goes to has to be proficient. Be prepared to use that as a extra. If we get a second enchant drop, we'd still expect you to chip in and help out with the guild. But we're bouncing around ideas. That's like Someone brings their JC to raid and that's what they're proficient in, that's what they do, versus someone who has 3 JC ults, sort of thing. Like, do we give the JC pattern to, someone who is actually a JC in the raid, like, that is their tune, versus, the army of ults they have, like, sort of thing. As long as they're proficient, I don't know, man. But like, we'll get to this. It's saying that we're just bouncing around. If you want to have a chat to Shifty, Bonnie, myself, or Kara about it after tonight, to throw in some ideas or whatever around this, we're open ears and we can take a bit of a slice of people's opinions here on it. Okay, so don't get too sweaty about this. Obviously the key here is first drop, guild use, and we'll make sure it's fair, right? And then extra drops, we're working that out.
Like Valiant just said, if you've got any ideas that potentially could be better than ours, reach out to one of us and we can discuss it. Cool. What is the next one? Sweet.
You might want to go back
Did I
just
miss
to talk the right stuff, just the buttons.
Cool. Yep. Sweet. So, so this is what we will be using for the RC Loot Council, right? So 4-piece, 2-piece, major upgrade, minor, tertiary, off-spec, transmog, bus. These two here are going to be a very contentious thing in the first couple of weeks, right? While everyone's getting their tier. 2 set should be a prio of using the curio that we get from clearing the heroic rate and the catalyst that you get in the first week. Personally, and I know that officers have chatted about this and it's a bit of an issue. Not an issue, but a talking point. I don't really expect anyone to be rolling this. If you're rolling that you need it for a 2-piece, we'll be asking why. So that covers your 2 set. The 4 set, so priority using the catalyst to get your 4 set when you can get a decent piece, which will likely be from M+ raid or your vault. So if you need to hold something to use, the catalyst on, that's great. What I don't want is I don't want people going into the normal raid and not rolling on gear because they think they might get heroic gear. I will not stand for that. And Shifty and I have spoken about this, and he will be keeping a very, very keen eye on the little loot goblins that we've got in here that are, not rolling on things because they think they might get a better one. You will eventually get a better one. It just may not be right away.
And to add to that, reality is the quicker everyone gets tier set, the quicker bosses die, the quicker everyone gets better tier set. If we are stuck up on, I don't want this tier set because it might not mean I get a heroic one, we will not kill bosses as fast. We will get slowed down. Tier set for almost every class is at least a 5% upgrade. I believe from that spreadsheet I saw earlier.
Yeah, so sorry, Bonnie and Cara, we've got a slide coming up. I ended up throwing one in around all this, so it goes into a bit more detail. I guess just briefly go over these buttons, right, just in generic, and then I think the next slides will they'll cover off the 2 set, 4 set, major, minor.
I think I just want to, I guess, drill in the point that, 2 things. Firstly, note at the end as well. Make sure you're putting in a note if it's, BIS overall, or if it's BIS for M+, or if it's BIS for raid, or SAB, blah, 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 blah. We will also add a disenchant button. So anything that, that won't be a problem at the very start of the season, but towards the end, it most likely will be a thing. And, D will take into consideration for that. What was I about to say? I was just about to say something.
Sorry, Bonnie. With that in mind, you don't need to add a button that's built into RC Loot Council, so if no one needs it, you just right-click the item and go award for disenchanting.
There you go. Done. I was just about to say something and now I've fully forgotten.
So right, let's continue and we'll circle back if we need to.
Cool. So
just push it again. There we go.
Sweet. So, like I just said, everyone will be getting at least 2 tier items from Curio plus Catalyst. Noting that, we don't expect you to rush getting 2 set. I've looked at the percentage damage increase for a lot of them, minus like 1 or 2 standouts. It's sub 5% for most people. So if you say get a myth track helmet and a myth track shoulders, a myth track helmet, but it may not be your best piece to catalyst. Fully understand that. Not asking you to rush out and catalyst a piece that you're going to replace by the end of it as well, right? Just use your best judgment. Everyone's smart. Everyone knows the best way of doing that. Cool. Only roll on tier token / catalyst items for a slot that is optimal for you. Kind of what I just said as well. And again, reiterating first week, roll on normal tier. Do not just come into it and not roll on normal tier, because then it looks better on sims that you need heroic gear. We are smarter than that. We will work that out. Any points on tier tokens? I remember what I was going to say now. Please give us, as officers and Shifty, a bit of leeway with this as well. It is rough at the start of the season. I don't know if people remember the start of Amidrasil, but we had not quite an argument, but there was a little bit of an argument throughout the guild because it felt like some people were getting more loot than others. That's not what we're trying to accomplish, and just because you don't get it on week 1 doesn't mean you're going to be behind. You will get it eventually. Just bear with us. We are also human. We're trying to do what's best for us and for you guys as well. Any points on that? Any questions on that? Cool. All right. Minor versus major upgrade. So on that previous slide, there was a minor and major button. This is just constituting what is a minor / a verse. Oh my god, I can't talk. What is a major versus minor upgrade? More eye level, generally speaking, means an upgrade. But just have a think, is that great for you? Just because, say for me, I'm sitting on what, a 580 helmet and a 620 helmet drops, but the stats are crit verse. Yeah, the eye level's good, but the stats are dog shit for me, and I'm probably not going to want it, and I'm just going to replace it anyway. So just keep that in mind as well. You could potentially be hamstringing someone else because you're being greedy. Examples for major: best stats / okay stats. Again, I'll use me as an example. If it was a haste heavy helmet, it would be good for me. At least 1 out of the 2 is good. BIS SA tier, very self-explanatory there. Minor upgrades, side grade, okay / bad stats, not BIS but doable, and tertiary stats. So we're not taking avoidance leech into account as a major upgrade. That is just a minor upgrade. Granted, I know leech with healers is a bit subjective to that because it's pretty big for them, but Valian can comment on that if you would like.
Yeah, leech is huge for healers.
Yeah,
always is. So that's
So
probably the only one.
Don't be surprised if a leech piece potentially may go to a healer over a DPS, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. Sockets. So sockets have been somewhat nerfed, I guess. +10 item levels in Dragonflight, +5 levels in War Within. Not as massive as an upgrade as they once were, but also still great. Minor upgrade, so make sure you're hitting that. Vault. Pick up tier trinkets, cantrips from your vault. You shouldn't be taking wrists from vault if you've got a trinket in there that is potentially better. That's all I'll say on that. I have done this multiple times because I didn't have diamond hands and now I do. Just think about it. Use your brains. Sweet. Officers, any final thoughts on loot? Shifty, Kira?
I would say, just in regards to Vault, in the first week that we get a Vault, so that would be the start of Mythic Week, I believe. We will be doing Heroic on the Wednesday night. You may want to not take your Vault item until we clear the Heroic in case you get something that you would have duplicated.
There's also good odds that you probably want to take a socket in that first week.
Does anyone know, are they still doing the thing where, you know how there was like a higher chance for Vault? Was it for Vault to drop tier and all that sort of shit? in the first couple of
I
weeks.
think that is
since
still
we've
a
got
thing.
Catalyst right off the bat.
I haven't seen a comment, so I'd have to assume there's still a higher odds.
Voodoo, yeah, you're right. They Blizz a little while back, and they did it in season 4 actually. Like they implemented a system where tier appears a little bit more commonly in your vault now, across your 3 vaults.
And also more commonly at the start of the season.
Yeah. It's great, if you wake up at 5 a.m. on a Wednesday morning like Chad does and checks his vault like a little degen, that you've got a tier piece in there. Try, if you can, to hold out for raid, because you may get the same piece there. And then, instead of sitting on 3, you could be 4 set, essentially. Cool. Moving on. WoW audit. I'm just going to ask this for the group. Does anyone not know how to use WoW audit and raidbots/QE live for adding your sims in for us so we can see what the percentage upgrade is?
I don't know how to use WoW audit.
You don't know how to use it? WoW audit? Cool. Anyone else? Don't be afraid. You can whisper me. I'm online in game if you want to.
Is this one good for healer?
Yeah.
For DPS?
So raid bots is DPS only. Healers have QE live for that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next slide shows how to
use it for DPS, but when I play it as healer, I never use it.
That's all right. Next slide shows roughly how to do a healer one. But I'll let Bonnie talk the DPS one. I'll do the healer one.
Yeah, so I guess what I was going to say to that is I can just chat to Pumper offline about this, just so I'm not holding everyone else up if everyone else knows how to use it. Great, cool.
Just make sure you all update heroic and mythic versions of WoW Audit.
Yeah, correct.
And before raid time, not during, because you got late.
Yeah, that goes back to the expectations, right? We're rocking out 15 minutes before raid and having your WoW audit updated, and you do need to do it before. Look, you do it weekly, all right? Weekly minimum, right? But if you want to maximize your own self, you'd actually want to do it before every raid. So at this stage, let's go for the before every raid. Make sure you update it.
So if you haven't got any new gear, nothing would have changed, but
correct,
because it's running a Droptimizer. Like if you've picked up or crafted a new piece before we're about to get a raid, it's probably best to run a new one.
Yep, 100% agree. Just use your common sense here. If you haven't upgraded or changed anything, it's fine. Upgrade it otherwise. But on the healer one here, guys, Moo, it's for us. It's just making sure you're on the right character at the top and you're on raid. And then when the upgrade finder becomes available, it's really straightforward. You're just selecting heroic, and then it gives you a string at the top that you then can put into WoW Water. As Bonnie has said, he's happy to run a little session for people or one-on-ones to walk through the WoW Water as needed.
Yeah, I was use the QE Live for the trinket. Yeah, I know how it works. Yeah, thanks.
Perfect.
Yeah, sweet. So WoW Audit is just a website that where we track where everyone's up to, how many keys you've done, etc. Blah blah blah. It also tracks when you've updated your wish list. They call it a wish list in WoW Audit, but we can see that. So if it hasn't been done for 5 days and you don't get something and you go, oh, that was fucking bis for me, and we look and we go, well, we didn't know that. So anyway,
have you guys already shared a link for?
Not yet, but we will.
So we'll put it in the raid resources channel, which is at the bottom of No Bar Palace.
Yeah. So once we've got everything set up enough tonight, we'll chuck everything that we've spoken about, links, blah 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 blah, in that tab.
A couple of things, Bonnie. Firstly, obviously you want us to be running the Droptimizer sim. Say we go into the raid, we kill a boss, we get a piece of loot. Are we then updating our Droptimizer straight away with that new piece of loot equipped? Because it's going to affect our Droptimizer?
That might slow down raid progression if we're constantly...
I would just say that do it at the break time. You have 10 minutes, quick piss, and run your Droptimizer while you go to pee.
It'd have to be a bloody big upgrade or like some weird trinket which changes things around to really substantially
Some things will
change.
shift you a fair chunk, but like
Yeah.
you sort of have to play that by ear. How good your login is it a big fat subscription? Is it going to be real fast, etc., etc.? Use your common sense.
Use your common sense here, and look, as you're moving off to the next boss, on your second screen, you can run one, right? Sort of thing. Kill the trash, and then you can upgrade, right? Update it.
I would almost say like if it's not I would say only update it if it's like a trinket or like a giga weapon or something.
Something big.
Yeah, if it's a fucking belt
Just
or a
got
set of
two
wrists.
set.
Just you get a set of wrists and redo your kit.
Yeah, no, like it's not going to matter. Cool, moving on. Sweet. So we will release
press it again.
We will release this Google Doc as well. So Larius is just a creator that we found. He released a really, really good guide, really in depth of things that you want to do. It's got degenerate Chad Lantes options if you want to do that. Yeah, so pretty much this is what our expectation will be for everyone. So week 1, normal and heroic way begins. I already set the precedent. God, I'm talking too much. Precedence that by Wednesday, the first time that we go into raid, everyone in that raid will be above 580. If you are 579, you will not be coming. You've had 2 weeks, and it is very easy to get to 580. That Sunday, it'd be 590 plus. Obviously, I'm not going to be as hard and fast on the being 590 plus by then, due to the fact that you are subject to RNGesus at that point. But first week, things to focus on, T8 delves and M0s. So T8 delves, if you do 8 of them, you'll get a full delve slot, which will give you a hero piece come the next week. M0s, veteran gear, however, farmable and don't take keys. Week 2, by the Sunday, 615 plus. This should be achievable by the fact that we'll be clearing heroic, and M0s are daily lockouts now, not weekly, and you can keep doing Battlefield delves if you continue to get keys. Sparks are a big one. I guess it comes down to everyone individually of how you spend your rests. Look up on guides for your class, see what people are recommending. I can't put a hard and fast rule on that. Embellishments as well, though. Check embellishments if there's a Giga Broken embellishment for you and you want to craft it. I'd probably be focusing doing that over upgrading a pair of wrists to 626 sort of thing. And then I guess it's just a bit of a snowball from there. Week 3, 620, 625, 630. All of this is explained a lot more in depth in this guide as well, which we will release at the end of tonight. Or if someone wants to share it in there.
I've just shared it. Then,
perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
Further comment on that related to the crafting. If you're planning on getting something Spark crafted, the sooner you tell us about it, the better, because this is early weeks. We're capped on how many knowledge points we get. This shit quite often still requires concentration. So if you're the 4th person to saying, oh, but I want something, stiff shit, basically. If we don't know about it, we may well not be able to do it because, 100 hours before we have all of our concentration back.
Yep. Cool. Sweet.
Sorry, Bonnie, before we jump into this great meme.
Yep.
I did notice on that previous slide, you've got the first week for Sundays to be 590 plus, and then the second week to be 615. That's a jump of 25 item levels. Given the expectation is only 4 keys, is that a relatively reasonable request to be 615 plus for 25 item levels?
I'll speak to this one. All right. So, sorry, Bonnie. If you, sorry.
You go. No, you go.
All right. So, these goals here are just taken from Larius's and pulled back a little bit, right? So, Larius is basically basing on like, if you were to do all these activities, this is what you could hit. The idea here is that we're trying to hit hit progression, and make sure we're going to progress appropriately, right? And as you saw on our progression, sort of like estimated kill schedule, whatever, by week, after first 2 weeks, we should have had the first few bosses down. We should be heading into some of the mid-tier bosses in week 3, 4, and then 5, and then we're saying to hit the later tier bosses, hopefully, thereafter or whatever, right? Yes, it is a big jump, but Mythic Plus is available, and you should have had both your Sparks available, crafted by now, as well as all your tier 8 Bountiful Delves, right? That you can you're throwing your coffee keys into. So you are going to gain a lot of loot from your delves, your sparks, and as well as Mythic Plus. Yes, 100% Jojo. Probably this is the biggest gearing week of the one. Yeah, and it is definitely going to be more than 4. We're not going to, like I said, these numbers here are just ideal goals to try and hit, right? Or these are the goals you could hit if you were to do everything as per Larius. So,
yeah,
but
correct. Similar to what I said for the next Sunday being 590 plus. Like obviously a little bit of leeway on that. The only one that I'm absolutely hard and set on is this one here. If you are not 580 by then, I will be not happy. You've had multiple weeks to do it, and it is not hard to do it. Yeah, these ones are just ideal situations, as Valiant said. But let's be real. We are all pretty degenerate at this game, so it's definitely not out of our reach to get somewhere near that. 605, 610, stuff like that. Any more on that? This is the time to bring it up now. Like, we are all ears. We're still finding our way with this as well.
I think that's pretty clear. I was just role playing Connor and playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. Wait. Cool. Great meme. Wait. WoW players will spend 2 weeks optimizing gear and being feared about crafting anything because it could lose them 0.1 DPS, but then not spend a single minute on preparing for a raid fight. This is very, very true. I do not care that you are doing 800 million single target DPS and moving and also doing a doctorate in fucking spatial science at the same time. If you don't know how the fight works and you don't know the mechanics and you haven't put in the time to learn it, I don't care how much damage you do. I'll take someone who has put in the effort, knows the fight like the back of their hand.
Can't DPS from the floor.
Correctamundo, my friend. Any points
Only coming
on
from
that?
you.
I was going to say
I
that.
stand on the floor when I DP.
I didn't say it.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Is there
I'm letting people know where the other is,
Any points on that? Nope. Sweet. Cool. So yeah, at the end of the day, goal for the season, have fun. We all come here to have so much fun. And we do, like I said at the start of this, we want to reduce the time that it took to kill. If we're looking at the trend from... You have to remember this guild was formed at the start of Season 1. Halfway through of Season 1 Dragonflight. After it fell apart at another guild, this one kind of took over and created, nearly going CE in the first season of that. Going CE in the second season in the last minute to, now we had 2 weeks to re-clear at the end of Imidrisil to now clearing 3 out of 3 raids in Season 4. We are trending really, really well to become a very, very good and strong guild. We are a good and strong guild. We just want to keep that progression. We do not want to plateau and be getting to the 90th minute of the season and having people questioning whether they want to play anymore because they've slammed their head into Smolder on 636 times. But yeah, I believe that is it for this. That is. Is there any final questions on this? We'll take probably a 10-minute break before we get into the raid plans with Kira, who's going to run through them. Is there any final questions on any of this slideshow before we do that?
Yep.
Can you put that link to that sheet, the guide, I forget his name, The gearing
Yep.
thing.
Hilarious.
Yes, if you look at the Nobarch Palace channel, you should be able to see resources still. It should still have permissions.
It does. Yeah, it does.
So the Larry side is there, and then the WoW audit page for your wish lists is there as well.
Oh. Wait, can you guys see it? Can anyone see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Cool.
You just did it.
Yeah.
Sorry, we did talk about it briefly today, Bonnie, as well, of having a Wednesday raid this week for anyone who's a degenerate and is available during the day.
Yes, that again, that's gonna be up to you guys. If Jojo is gonna be working from home on Wednesday, I'm sure a bunch of people are potentially gonna take the day off. I'm probably gonna take the day off. Get in and do a normal raid on some alts and get a feel for how the raid's going. So we will be doing that.
We're talking about an alt raid. Okay.
Yeah, alt raid normal on Wednesdays for stuff. But that will be not RC Loot Council. That will be if I see a main in there, I'll be fucking very annoyed.
You pick it.
Yeah, I will kick it.
So,
what time are you doing that, Jojo?
Probably afternoon, so maybe like 1 or 2.
Cheers. So that's your time or server time?
Server.
Cool.
Sweet. Sorry, I said 10 minutes. Let's make it 5 minutes just so we can kind of get through all of this. Any more questions?
What's expectations on enchants?
For week 1.
Not for week 1 in terms of weapon, but like get your enchants sorted out as we progress in sort of mythic. We want to be having everyone fully enchanted.
Yeah, and do we have anyone that's specced into enchanting heavily that can help people get the higher ranks?
Yeah.
You also let's be honest here as well, right? You're going to be once you've got a good heroic or myth track gear, that's when you should try and put the rank 3s on, right? I don't think people should be breaking their bank for rank 3s on the other stuff. Until we suck in that.
Week 1, we're not going to have all the enchants ready yet anyway, because we haven't cleared the raid yet. But once we cleared the raid, we're going into week 2 of mythic. We have lots more enchants available. We'll have some hero gear already. Maybe even get some myth gear early on in that second week, and we can start enchanting.
Yeah, the power of the enchant is in the enchant itself. So, like, the rank is just some minor increases on them, right? So as long as you've got the enchant, but again,
they are quite substantial in differences between the ranks, especially on the weapons.
Yeah,
the enchants have the advantage.
My point is that you put a weapon enchant on versus none, right? That's the big difference. So, when you're starting to talk from rank 1, 2, 3, they add a little bit extra, yes. But you're not going to be putting it on a rank 3 on a blue. You can if you want, fill your boots, right? But it depends how expensive stuff is. But
I'll be very blunt here too. An enchant is not going to be the difference between us killing a boss week 1 mythic and not. Do with that what you will. I don't think there is a massive expectation, like Valiant said, to break your bank doing it.
They have the advantage that they're one of the few items which you can literally go to the AH and buy. There's no fucking around finding crafters. And honestly, the price of the enchants on the AH does not leave a shitload of margin unless you're using a whole bunch of concentration on a dumpster of alt. Like AH for enchanting is very competitive. That's just what the price is, basically.
Sucks to be an enchanter.
Yep. See you back in 5 minutes.
So 8:20, we'll come back.
8:20. Cool. All right, I'm going to jump into another channel. If you haven't used WoW Audit before, follow me up and I will quickly run through how to do it for you.
Hey, Brandon, are you there? Brandon. Valiant, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Just also an update. I don't know that if you guys know this, but WoW Audit, when you create rosters on WoW Audit, you can actually set people's absence or late or anything on there. So rather than having to do a spreadsheet, you can just do it through WoW Audit and it pulls characters, names, and everything.
I think it can even dump it into a spreadsheet too, yeah?
Yeah, it exports to it. You just need to have someone that has the right permissions to do the export. Pretty good. That's how I was doing the rostering for Season 2.
Yeah, nice. Okay. No.
Absent or late or on bench or not available, like all of those settings are available. And I can
that's
only
really
see on the calendar and WoW Audit that those raids have already been added to there on a weekly basis, those 2 nights.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that feature. To be fair, in Season 3, Morky was running the WoW Audit. I kind of had I didn't need to go in that space, but mate, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll pass that along to Shifty. I think Shifty and Bonnie are going to be our WoW auditors.
Yeah. The other thing as well, and this is quite new, there's now a desktop app for WoW Audit and an add-on. So the moment that you populate your raid bots link into the WoW Audit webpage, it pulls through into the game. So you don't have to worry about percentages. It'll be displayed on your raid bots, like on your WoW over Absolute Council in game.
That's fucking sick.
So is that for raid bots?
So it works for either or. So say you do your sim on raid bots, right?
Yep.
Grab your link, you chuck it into WoW Audit. You have the WoW Audit app on your computer, and the WoW Audit for RC Loop Council add-on enabled. It'll pull the information through from the WoW Audit website. So it'll say, you've chucked your link in there. So midway through the raid, you're not having to open up that tab and have it side by side. Like you can just have it all in game.
Yeah, because I remember having to do that. That was a pain in the ass. I think that's for, but Shifty be able to see everyone else's from that app is what I'm getting at. Like if he was to look at all percentages.
Shifty would need to actually I'll test it while we wait, because I can do a sim right now and Pivot will pull through. So you need the add-on and you need the WoW Audit desktop as a client. Just add it to the list of things like Raider.io, TSM. I think I've got more applications for WoW than I do, the actual game itself. So I'll just run a sim now.
Yeah, what would be handy is if everyone's uploaded their WoW Audit strings by other mechanism, but then Shifty could pull up everyone's in game. The percentages in a view there.
I think there may be an overview for that.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking of.
Because they kind of had that for Classic. I know Zol's probably seen it, but with like soft resing with Gargle, is kind of like how they did that, and where you'd have an import string into the week or before the raid, and it would show you everyone's soft reses. And this is kind of like that same kind of concept. I can show people how to set up because you do need an API key.
Yep, yeah, the API key. Yep, acknowledge.
Cool. I think that is sweet. Everyone tune into Kira's stream.
One comment too about the add-ons thing. Rec and I were going through Bigwigs last night and discovered that it started getting a lot more overachiever. So now, as well as all of the bullshit default voice to speech, it's also putting boss and dungeon buffs and debuffs on your nameplates, which I assume people already have their own preferred solution to, but you need to go through and manually turn them all off unless you want this shit on your nameplates. They don't have a mass turn off function. They said they're going to add one, but yeah, Bigwigs is getting a lot more annoying in terms of you having to actually set it up yourself.
If anyone doesn't have a setup UI, and they want a very clean setup UI, hit me up. I pay for atrocities. I'll just give it to you. You can have it. Chad can attest. It's a really, really good UI. And it's got everything. It does all of that for you. Takes everything into consideration for you. So you're not having to fuck around with all of that. But thank you, Blue.
Okay, so I'm going to briefly go through every raid boss on mainly Heroic. I will mention Mythic mechanics as well. The later bosses, especially Queen Ansurak, no one has actually seen Queen Ansurak yet, so the guide that I'm going through is pretty much a rough estimate. So first boss, we have Ulrich the Devourer. First thing I note about positioning here is that the boss has a frontal cone, and also drops webs on the floor. Being on the outside here of the position of the boss allows us to move around the room if it gets too crowded and sort of drop it in sections around the room. There is another strategy where you tank him in the middle in order to better avoid the knockback later on, but it's a very telegraphed knockback, so it's not that big of a deal. Frontal cone on the tank, as I've said. These webs will drop, they will target players of swells, you just have to move out of the swells. You can use anti-roots to clear the webs, and as well as immunes on Heroic. However, on Mythic, you cannot use anti-roots, they will stun you. The cocoon can be damaged to break out, but it's like 8 to 7 million health. It's a DPS loss to break people out. So ideally, you don't want to be getting stunned by these webs. You want to be using immunes to clear them. If you are stunned, I don't believe you can use an anti-stun like Human Racial, but that was from beta. I don't know if that's still the case. The main mechanic with these is people will get targeted with digestive acid. They can use them to go near the webs, not on the webs, and the AoE will clear them. You can also use this acid to break the stunned people on Mythic, if there is any stunned people. Fairly simple mechanic. This is the main mechanic on Heroic and Mythic. You get pulled in towards the boss. On Heroic, everyone tanks it and gets pulled in. The more people that are in the pull-in, the less the pull-in pulls. If you get pulled into and under the boss, you instantly die. So the idea is you go out, you soak, and then you sort of hover outside of its lethal range. There is a very visible circle on the ground where it says you'll die. On Mythic, you've got to alternate two groups because there's a debuff. Now, with this pull-in, and this is the same on another fight in this raid, which has a very similar mechanic, the more people in it drastically reduces the pull-in. So I've seen beta videos where people have had like 6 people in this pull-in, and it like yeets them in like a train car. However, even just having 8 people with 2 extras, it's barely noticeable. Ideally, you would have 9 to 10 people in each of these soaks. Of course, that is considering that the tank will be on the boss. The off-tank may be able to jump in and help soak, but it's not required. You get a debuff on Mythic, and if you take it again, you basically get one shot. So you just rotate 2 groups. Intermission. So very telegraphed, the boss will jump into the middle and knock everyone back. That's why before this happens, we move away from the edge of the room in towards the middle. Do not get knocked back into any of the residual webs on the ground. The boss will then start to charge through the room. These huge shadow pools will open up. You just dodge it. And the main mechanic in this intermission phase is all of these ads. You want to focus the bile spawned ads specifically on Mythic. On Heroic, it's just one type of ad. These bile spawned just randomly AoE 8 people every so often, so they need to die relatively quick because it's a big healing check. This entire phase here is you're taking a lot of damage while this is going on. So you kill these ads. All of these ads will drop little meat piles on the ground. The boss will eventually stop charging and become immune. So don't hit the boss. Don't worry about, keeping up time. You want to grab these meat chunks from the ads, feed the boss. And then it repeats. As soon as the boss has been fed properly, he repeats back to phase 1 and you repeat. It's very simple. On average, I believe we should only have really 2 charge phases. So we're talking, around 5:53 is the second intermission finish. So hopefully the boss will die very quickly after that. Very simple. So it's not too much to learn.
Just
Bloodbound Horror.
One quick point too before we keep going through these. In that resource channel, Aliet shared a link to a website called tacticalairhorse.itch.io. It is a 8-bit game that has all of these raid fights that you can practice on. So if you're unclear on anything, hit us up, or you can practice on that too.
And all of the resource channels will be open for you to look through these raid plans as well.
Correct.
Bloodbound Horror is a little bit more technical, but still fairly easy. You're basically splitting into 2 groups, and one goes into a downstairs zone, one stays up, and then every second one, you switch over, and the other group goes downstairs instead. In order to go downstairs is a big frontal on the tank. The tank will be the one who is wanting to go downstairs for that set. And you want to point it as a tank towards where the most ads are grouped up. As you can see, these are ads spawning in here. You can see the frontal goes out, and then these guys spawn in the downstairs room. This ad here is a tank ad. It does a lot of damage to the tank. On beta, it was wrecking people. The idea is it has an interrupt which shields the boss if you don't interrupt it. I think you only actually need one person, the tank, to interrupt it. From the beta that I saw, and then everyone else kills these guys. So yeah, these guys are uninterruptible. They will continually spawn ads. If the ads reach the boss, they blow up and people die. It's fairly simple. You kill the spawners first and cleaving down the tank ad, which can be moved on top of the spawners. I've put an extra one here, but the first set will only have 1 spawner. There is an ability he casts which adds an extra spawner for each ability he casts. So it eventually ends up like being 3 or 4 of them. This is fairly simple. Kill ads, stop them from reaching the boss, keep an interrupt up. While this is happening, the main tank, who is not downstairs, has the boss, and there will be these beams that start rotating around the boss. What you want to do, the beams will always spawn directly on either side. So as the main tank, you can make sure the beam does not spawn here and cleave the ad group. It can spawn here, and you as the rest of the group just go around. The beams, when they are loading in, they are not lethal. They all have this big effect like, oh, I'm about to beam here, but it's not yet lethal until it starts, shooting out. It is pretty much a one-shot if you get by these beams. On heroic difficulty, you get these puddles spawning underneath your feet. You just stutter step. It's a bit like, it's basically, you just stutter step with this debuff. It puts some shit on the ground, which eventually disappears. It'll be about 3 or 4 people who get it. Fairly easy to deal with. This also affects both upstairs and downstairs groups. The downstairs group has about 40 seconds to finish up these ads. They can also return to damaging the boss while still downstairs. Gore Splatter, you run away. This is a 17 million damage hit. You cannot tank it. You run out. Ideally, you gateway out to make it faster. It's a 60-yard range, so about where this water comes here, you want to get behind that. Does it's 17 mil, and then you go back in. After every of these gore splatters, after every gore splatter, an extra ad spawns in the downstairs phase.
We'll probably gateway out, so we're all stacked, and we'll have like damage reduction, like AMZs and Link and everything else there, right, for the hit. And then there'll be a speed boost afterwards, get you back over to the island. Don't stay in the bloody water.
Yeah, the water does damage. The mythic mechanic is Blood Curdle. It happens constantly throughout the fight whenever we receive the healing absorb. Healing absorb is basically just a standard fuck the healers thing that the boss does every so often throughout heroic and normal. But on mythic, it will also give us a 6-yard debuff. We've got to spread for it while doing all the other mechanics. There is some overlaps with that with the other mechanics as well. But it's for a mythic mechanic, it's actually fairly simple. And so you have 2 down phases and then a gore splatter, and then repeat. 2 down phases, gore splatter. We want to ideally kill the boss before 6:11 or 6:19, or at least avoid the very next ad phase after, because there will be 4 ad spawners downstairs. Going back to this one, generally melee, on the boss, killing the main guys. As soon as extra ones are spawned in during the fight range, aim to kill the far ones. You can use stuff like Ring of Pieces on the far ones to stop them from getting in. You can also use Mage Ice Ring. I forgot what it's called. I'm a fucking mage. Ring of Frost.
Ring of Frost.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff you can do. Yeah. Yeah, I know. But yeah, no, it's a very simple fight. Kill ads, switching groups, run out. It's pretty simple.
He's an arcane main now.
Fuck no.
Welcome to Epstein's Island.
Sikran is actually a very simple fight on paper. Super, super simple to understand, but if you fuck it up, you die instantly. This is the Rashok, basically. It's a massive single target DPS check. Similar to Forgotten Experiments in Avarice, people get targeted by a charge ability. You want to sort of form up in this square formation like this. Anyone who is hit by it will spawn a mirror image on the ground, so you want the rest of the raid to fuck off towards the inside. On Mythic, if you are within 6 yards of each other when you're getting charged, you also spawn additional dudes, which is really, really unfortunate. We don't want to do that. We want to have this sort of square formation where there's an easy line from the boss to the ads. The very next mechanic is a Decimate ability, which targets 2 players. It goes through the players and hits any mirror images and breaks them. This will put a dot on us for each image. We want to break all of them. It will do a large dot. You'll use defensives. If we miss breaking, we have to try and get it the next time, ideally. It happens exactly again. When we break those images, they spawn puddles. So we do the same thing again, charges out, and decimates through, like so. Then he channels this big explosion. We run away, we use big healing cooldowns, defensives, to reduce the damage, and also damage by distance is reduced. Does the big explosion, it does like 70% of your health through mitigation, so it is near lethal. Any remaining images that we haven't cleared because we're bad will also explode and be 3 times more damaging. It is basically a wipe on Mythic to have any images up during this, unless you use everything to survive. Then the fight repeats. That's literally all. There are some swirlies that go out, and the tanks have a tank swap mechanic on this, which is similar to Rashok, but a little bit different. But it's very simple.
Flask, I sent you that tank cheat sheet as well if you wanted to share it with Terra.
So very simple fight, but you can imagine as soon as one of these images is not in line and has not been broken, or we spawn an extra image due to being too close here, the fight gets much more complicated and much more high damage. And eventually, we will run out of room because of these pools. So we go all the way around the room, then we're going into the middle, and then we're trying to do another thing. So it's very Rashok. You're running out of room, and there's big damage and big single target required to kill the boss. But overall, very easy to understand. Yeah, we're then moving on to Rashan. Rashan's a bit of a funny one because the boss model is not actually on raid plan IO. We've got the troll here instead for some reason. I'm pretty sure that's not the actual model of the boss. It looks different to that. This is the same as the dungeon one. So everyone who's done the Dawnbreaker, this is the exact same mechanic. You have these lines, you get them out because they point in a direction, and they will stun anyone who is hit by these lines. On Mythic, there are 3 of them like this. It's very easy to see which way you want to go with that line because it's very obvious. It will show you exactly which way you want to be going. Throughout this entire fight, the boss is continually putting dots on everyone. I believe they're poison dots, so Shaman poison dispels for the Shamans that we will have in there is also very useful.
Paladins, Druids.
Yeah.
Also, the boss starts at
Evoker too, I think.
60%. Boss starts at 60% health, so no hunters will be brought. Kidding, I'm kidding.
Some bullshit.
No devastation evokers even. No. So this is the main mechanic of the fight that makes it difficult. On heroic, you get people targeted by a white circle and are marked. I make the very clear definition of white because also a green circle that you're marked with. This is a different mechanic. So white circles, they get out, and then you have to run away from the web zones that are spawned to break a leash. That's very simple on heroic. On mythic, it's a bit different. You have to get out with these web debuffs again, but you are also linked to every other player. You don't want to run away from the other players, you actually want to run towards the friendly players you're linked with, because anyone inside these linked area here, this red area that I've displayed where you're linked, anyone inside that dies instantly. So you want to get out, have the rest of the raid not be near you over here, and then you're all running towards each other to minimize the zone size and to still break your webs to the ground zones, which are still existing as well. The damage effect from inside this zone triggers 4 seconds after the first web breaks from these individual zones. Yes, there was a question?
I was about to ask, but so it isn't like a Nerva where you have to actually touch each other, or is it just no one has to be inside that zone?
No one needs to be inside this zone here. So you're running towards each other simply so that you're reducing the size of the zone. You don't need to touch each other, you're just getting out of your web zones, moving towards each other to reduce the size of the zone. And you gotta wait a second because it only happens 4 seconds after the first player from this group of 4 breaks their initial web to the zone. So you gotta get in, wait 4 seconds, back to the raid. Green circles that are marked, you run out. They will spawn adds on top of you, so as soon as you drop the debuff off, you then want to run back in towards the tank so they can pick them up. These adds also use their main tank bite ability on the person who dropped them, which does a fuck ton of damage. So when you have this ability, you want to make sure you use something to survive it. It can easily take off 70% of your health just from this ability alone, and there's also other damage coming out. So make sure you're using defensives for the poison spiders.
Are those ads CCable?
Yes.
So
and
you
I believe
stun them and stuff.
Yeah, you can stun them. So the idea is get them in, group them up, stun them, kill them.
Yeah, so healers will, when we see the debuff on those people, will prio to get their health up.
I'm just thinking from the perspective of players who have personal things, like Ret Pally's example, have Hodge and stuff. So to prevent that bite from hitting you straight away, you can just prepare a CC so that you're not taking that initial huge hit.
Do we know how often they're spawned, and are they grippable?
Let me have a look at my guide here. There's 3 sets of web debuffs per jump and 2 sets of spiders, and the first jump is at 1 minute 30, so I believe there's 2 sets of spiders every 1 minute 30. So I don't think you'll be able to grip them every time.
Between slapping Gore Fiends, I probably could, actually.
Okay, cool. So next mechanic, this is a frontal cone. It won't be like a pure cone animation. It'll actually initially come out as white swirlies. They'll go in a line through the middle, and then there'll be an extra one on either side of that, and an extra one on either side of that, expanding outwards in a cone. If you get hit by that, you are, again, like the first boss, put into a stunned cocoon, and you have to get DPS'd out. You don't want to get hit by this. It's a huge DPS loss. The main mechanic for the intermission is you will jump away. We all want to run over to her. And then the tank interrupts, importantly, because if the tank is not in melee range, he will just kill whoever. Or enrage because no one's in melee range and kill everyone. We want to get there really fast, so wind rushes, gates, that kind of stuff, and interrupt quickly, because every time they cast, they gain a permanent damage buff.
That interrupt's probably going to be on you, Terra, as you have better movement than I will.
We got rescues and gates and shit as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it will be pretty planned out in terms of that kind of stuff. Web Weave, I've moved the boss up here, even though I had them down here, just because it's better visually. Web Weave is the exact same mechanic as the first boss in terms of the pull-in mechanic, except you don't need groups. Everyone just stacks up in the Web Weave to avoid the pull-in. The more people who are in it, the less likely it will do anything. In fact, if you've got all 20 people inside it, you actually don't even notice it pulling you, but for spellcasters, it will still interrupt your cast, which is really cancerous. But yeah, it's really annoying. But yeah, everyone get in it, avoid the pull-in. If you don't, you get pulled off the edge. The group soaks only happen after the first jump, and there are 2 group soaks for every between every jump after that. So 3 set of web debuffs, 2 group soaks per jump.
Plus lines.
The main, plus the 2 spiders, yeah. The main thing is these web debuffs. This is the 100% lethal mechanic if anyone's inside that zone. Brew Twister. This is the first fight, which is a weak ore boss. So as soon as the fight starts, the boss will go over to a container nearby. It'll be like 19 seconds of free damage, so we lost some pull and smack the fucker, and then he moves to one of these containers. There'll be some lines coming out and some swirlies to dodge. And then he will spawn this ooze, which goes out towards these eggs on the ground. If this ooze touches any of these eggs, we get a massive dot. If it's mythic difficulty, it's basically a guaranteed wipe because the damage is so insane. The idea is we want to break these eggs by using debuffs that players get to run next to them and break them. These egg positions are an example based on information I had earlier. I have actually got a sheet in the raid resources there for estimated positions of these egg breaks for the actual fight. On heroic, you just get out, hit these eggs, 1 each, and it puts a heal debuff on whoever gets hit by them, so you don't want to accidentally cleave someone else, ideally, but it's on other players to get the fuck away from eggs more than you. You need to break these eggs. On Mythic, this is the difficult part, you must have 2 circles per egg, and it's only 7 seconds from the time you get it. It will likely end up being a weak or assignment boss, pretty much. These eggs break, and you have 3 types of ads. These little ads are parasites. They're similar to Gahoon if anyone has done that boss. They will fixate a target. If they reach that target, they will multiply themselves. We want to grip these into the boss. We want to CC them under the boss. We want to run them through the boss if you've got them on ranged. If you have CC and you're melee, you can CC ones that are not on you. We want to just kill these guys, CC them really fast, make sure they all die. These are super, super dangerous. These worms here, they don't move, so we pull the boss on top of the worms, and we pull the spider on top of the worms. The worms do a cast. If it's not interrupted, it does wade wide damage. We just interrupt it, kill it. The spider does stacking damage to the tank. We kill the spider before it kills the tank. There'll be dispels that go out. When you get these dispels, you will be slowed by 70%. So you want to sort of pre-spread a little bit for these dispels, and then once you're spread, call for dispel. I don't know how we would do it. I imagine probably, given the chaos of this fight, we'll have people, get out, and then after a moment or 2, they'll get dispelled. So it's up to you to get out fast with these, so you're not going to get on other people.
It'll probably be a case of people get our view. So, because the person with the debuff is slowed by 70%. If you're a player not debuffed, you get away from that person. And then, healers will give a few seconds, right? So, but maybe 5 seconds for that. We'll have some targeted. I think there'll be a weak or a marker, right? So we'll get assigned a marker and dispel our respective marker.
And this will AoE root anyone who's caught in it who is not the person getting dispelled. So if you do get caught and you have an anti-root, you can just get out of it. So heroic, if any of the ads touch the ooze because you haven't killed them fast enough, like the worm who's stationary, they get mutated. So the worms, if they get hit by this, they get a super fast cast speed, so it's hard to interrupt them. The parasites gain scaling movement speed if they hit the target and fixate, so they eventually get up to insane speeds and you can't stop them. And the spiders are just huge and have a ton more health. The idea is we don't want any ads to touch this ooze as it's expanding. However, on Mythic, all of the ads of a certain type are mutated depending on the side. For example, this side here, where I'm showing the boss, all of the parasites are automatically mutated. We will likely be avoiding this side on Mythic completely, if possible, because parasites are the main nasty ad. So parasites naturally mutate over here, worms up here, and spiders down here, and there's more sides per ad. I believe they may have changed the exact percentages of this on live, because they were doing some interesting stuff on beta with changing which side was heavier with what, so that might be different. So we switch the sides at about 3 minutes. So we've got literally, about 2 minutes and 40 seconds to finish up all the eggs on one side before we go to the next one. Because we want to aim to kill him before he gets to his third side, we're looking at a 6-minute kill timer. This fight's probably going to be the first mini wall where you need weak cores to plan things out, and if the eggs get broken by the ooze, you just die. Nexus Princess Kaiveza. This is a very Smolderon boss. So each of these points here will be sort of a point where either the boss will be or one of the ads will be, and you get the ads by having Assassinate target you. You run them out sort of evenly across the room like so. The boss can always be adjusted by the tank if, say, it's a bit wonky on one side. You want to sort of evenly offset the boss and the ads around the room. After you've dropped the ads from the Assassinate ability, every player who had it gets these Smolderon lines. You can actually very visually see them and move appropriately to get them away from the raid. You'll see here, they're all shooting out and not near the boss. Anyone hit will duplicate the effect, so this can get out of control very quickly. It's up to you, if you've got the Assassinate, to make sure you're not pointing at people. It's up to everyone else to make sure that there's no rogue ones about to hit them. The actual damage from them seems to tickle on the beta, but it's the duplication that I'm concerned about. These ads that are all out here that have spawned from the Assassinate will duplicate the boss's cast of a rift. So the boss will cast a rift, and we all want to move away into the middle of the room. The rift will pull us towards it, and so if you've offset it appropriately like so, you won't get pulled at all. Or you'll get pulled very minimally. If you touch any of these rifts from the pull-in, you instantly die. This is the main mechanic on both Heroic and Mythic. The Assassins will pick a target and jump to their location. So they won't go through you, they will jump to you. You can anyone who gets hit gets damaged, so you can make it really short like this, so they don't move at all, and they still stay in their relative positions for the next rift cast. So that way they're not moving, they're not damaging people. You can see which one's targeting you it's like a red line on the ground rather than a purple, I believe. So it's really easy to see what one's on you and try and get close to the previous spot. Mythic is a little different. She will automatically have 5 ads out instead of like 3 on Heroic. And Heroic, you get an extra ad per phase, whereas Mythic, it just starts out with 5. Some of them will be glowing red, and 2 people per set will need to run 2 of the glowing ones through the boss to remove the buff from the ads. This will make things more chaotic. I'll delete the extra boss there. This will make things more chaotic because the ads are moving and not staying in the same position, so you need to adjust the boss a bit more according. You don't want to have 3 of the red assassins go through the boss at the same time because the boss gains a permanent buff. So each set you want 2 of them. This will most likely be a weak-core thing. I imagine they'll select you go through boss or something like that over your head, and you go through and remove the debuff. If the debuff is not removed from these ads before the phase ends, as soon as the next phase starts, you will instantly die. They will also mirror throwing knives, just lines on the ground through the raid to dodge. And you'll see this is sort of an example of, on Mythic, you've run 2 of them through the boss, and now they're a bit offset, so you just move the boss away to offset the whiffs. Intermission will happen, so there are 2 intermissions and then a third. Similar to Smolderon, the very last intermission, the third one, if you don't kill her, she will just eventually fill the entire room with shit and you'll instantly die. These cones will be coming out during each intermission, as well as swirlies and blaze lines like on Farak. For the cones, they are set spawns, so there'll be a cone here and then there'll be a cone here, so you can literally stand on the edge and just walk in between the 2. That. Depending which one's hitting. The boss in general, if you're ever below 10% health, she will attempt to instantly kill you. And that's just in general. If you ever go below 10% health, she will try to execute you. So you can survive it if you go below 10% health. If you like immediately health potion, the damage that she tries to do to kill you is not lethal if you are at full health. Which makes stamina buffs less impactful, because while it's good in terms of reducing your overall effective health, you will still have 10% of that as your lethal zone. So you need to make sure stamina buffs are on. You need to make sure that if you're going that low, you are health potting earlier than you would on a typical fight. So we have 2 rifts per phase and 2 dashes per phase. So the very last dash per phase, you don't have to worry about exactly where they're going, because they're going to go into intermission afterwards. This means that on the Mythic difficulty, you need to take off 2 of these red debuffs per dash set. You can get away with not having 2 on the first phase, but on the second phase, there's no room for error at all. And on the third phase, there will be 1 remaining regardless. I don't know how that works because no one's seen it, I don't believe. Because she never enters a 4th phase, so it's not going to kill you, but I imagine it will be something like, oh, when she goes into that last intermission, she might kill you anyway, and you might need to give her a permanent buff at the very end by running 3 of them through her. That's, something that we need to see in person, or as other guilds kill.
I noticed you called the slide pack at the top. Why has God forsaken us? Is that for this boss or the whole or the whole pack?
For this boss.
Yeah,
Smold one again.
Yeah.
But this fight,
nice touch.
It could either go very cleanly or very terribly, very fast. Silken Court. I am not going to discuss Mythic yet, because Mythic on this boss is actually insane. I'm just going to briefly touch heroic stuff. So, 2 bosses that can be brought together to cleave. This caster can't move, but she will randomly jump around the room, being really annoying, like on Council of Dreams. Venom Rain is a pretty simple mechanic. You just spread. The caster will jump away fairly early in the fight and do it every, I think, twice a phase. There will be a frontal from this boss, so you avoid it, and there will be these ads on the floor. These ads, melee, these are your job. These take, almost immune to damage when they first spawn. Melee damage only breaks their shell and allows them to be DPS'd by everyone. So, cleave. This is the main mechanic for the first phase. The ranged, specifically, will have web bombs spawn on top of them. So you can kind of bait them better than this spread out mess I've got here. The idea is that you want to pair up a few people. On Heroic you need 2 pairs of 2, on Mythic you'll need 3 pairs of 2, to individually, together, run into one of the bombs. As soon as one person touches the middle of them, they become linked together. So you want a couple of sets of people doing that. And it will always be ranged, because on Mythic, it's looking like it'll be a ranged job. Then, the boss will go underground, so you have your groups go in. I've put melee here, but it will likely be ranged. And then, after he's gone underground, he will charge through the room. You want to have your links go through the middle of the charge. For visual, acuity, I've spread them out like this, but you can literally stack them up all together. You just need 2 on heroic to break his charge, otherwise it hits the wall and it's a wipe. On mythic, it's 3, so you can stack them all up really, really tight for these links. You repeat the same thing again with an additional charge in phase 1, and then we go into intermission. This is similar to the previous fight where there's a bunch of cones on the ground. You avoid them by standing in the most recently spawned one, because the whole room is covered in cones, so you stand in whatever's the most recent one, and then you avoid them. Phase 2, you still have the adds, you still have the frontals. The boss will jump and then pull everyone in. You just resist the pull in, because if you get hit by the circle, it's instant death. This boss will apply a bunch of dispels. We need to be very careful not to dispel these. There'll be 5 of them. We need to keep them on the player, because if dispelled, they will just jump to someone new and it will just go crazy. The idea is this boss, the caster, will jump into the middle, and then we surround him with the dispels and then dispel them onto the boss. This will interrupt a big cast that he does, and then stun him. And that's the way to avoid this mechanic. So similar to phase 1, we're interrupting this boss's charge, we're interrupting this person's cast. We're using these dispels.
Yeah, Kara, just a quick question on that. I haven't looked into this yet, sorry. Can they be stacked up and mass dispel from Bonnie?
No, because it will jump to the nearest player.
Oh, that's
So
right.
if it's too far stacked, like you could maybe get like, as long as the boss is the closest still, you could have like these two be close and dispel
and the others
them, but you would need individuals. Yeah, and because there's 5 of them, that's a bit awkward with 4 healers. So I think we'll need to mass dispel a group of 2 people.
Or it might be a 5
or mass dispel one or mass dispel one person and single target dispel the other person, right? It depends what's going on there. But this fight on heroic, we could absolutely 5 heal it. On mythic, we are aiming to kill it very quickly, so it may be a 4 heal.
Were they poison dispels or were they magic dispels?
Magic. Yeah. Magic.
So it's gotta be healer.
And we've got evokers, so they can get one.
They can't do magic.
Extra.
Evokers, no.
No, they can do everything, just not regularly.
It's like 2. Was it Knights and Steps? Is it like a 2-minute cooldown?
Nah, 1 minute.
1 minute?
Okay, cool. So that's phase 2 pretty much. Intermission again, but this is a different boss, but the exact same mechanic, really. Phase 3 is both phases combined. So you have the pull-ins, you have the web bombs again, and the charge again, and then this dispels again. So ideally, we want to get this boss really low in health going into phase 3, so we don't have to deal with all of this crap at once, because it gets chaotic. Web bombs and charge again, and then he enrages. This fight on Mythic, I won't go into it much. Apart from needing 3 of them to interrupt the charge, there is a lot of insane Razageth-style mark debuff movement shit. But
we'll get into that when we get closer to it.
Yeah. And hopefully it's nerfed. Where is Queen Anne? So, like, this is a work in progress. We don't know much about this, but we're keeping spread at all times because I think there's a few different abilities that pulse damage around players. We put these toxic debuffs out towards the edge, and they put puddles down. And there will be a center of these puddles which has a bomb in it, similar to the web bombs which have a center to them to apply them from the last fight. There will be an expanding ring. Everyone goes out towards the bombs and stands inside their area of effect, and then one player hits the middle of them to push everyone up in the air and over this expanding ring. We stack for webs, which is the same thing as Tindrill's mechanic. It's a big root on the floor. We pull the boss away from a tank mechanic, which drops a pool on the floor. And we can sort of go around the room like so. Intermission, she pulls us all in. and we need to stay spread because there is constant damage. And if we are next to each other with the pull in, I believe it pulls us in faster, from my understanding. And then we split off into 2 groups for an ad phase. I don't know where the ads are or where they spawn. No one really knows. Let me go to platform overview. This is what the fight room looks like. So we have no idea how this works yet, but 2 groups here. Almost every little ad here does a knockback. The idea is you don't want to get knocked off the edge. These main guys, these ascendants here, when they die, they guarantee a knockback. It may be that we get knocked back to the new platform as the phase ends. I don't know. No one really does. But there are avoidable knockbacks. Sorry?
Dathia.
Yeah.
How fast are you on your life grip there, Bonnie?
Fucking fastest group in the West, mate.
So, couple things. The tank gets a knockback from one of the main ads here. They need to avoid getting knocked off the edge. There are lines that will appear around the room to knock back players. Avoid them. Killing the main ascendants, as I said, who share health, knocks everyone in the raid back. These worshippers here, I believe on Mythic difficulty, have a shield on them. If it's not broken, they empower the boss. So on Mythic, we'll be killing this ad as a priority. There will be these random dispels in this phase. I believe they need to be staggered because dispelling them like explodes on the raid. And during this phase, as well as all these knockback mechanics, the boss is still up here somewhere doing a pull-in every now and then. So it is very much don't die from falling in this phase. And then I need to go to upper. Yeah. 3rd phase. So there are these shielded ads. We want to kill the shield on them and interrupt them, or they empower the boss. Every time the ad dies, we have a bomb there. One of our players will be assigned to pick up that bomb. It'll be a different raider each time because they can't take the same thing in a row. A tank takes a debuff out, spawns these ads, and we need to kill them before they reach the boss. Keep this bomb in mind. We have this bomb here. There will be 2 raiders targeted with a portal. One will be out here, one will be over here somewhere, so one close, one far. I believe similar, if it's the same as most other mechanics that they've had like this in the past, it'll be 1 ranged, 1 melee. So we'll have 1 melee in or 1 ranged out, depending on who has better mobility. It may be swapped around, but that's the idea. We then want to dodge this closing in ring by using the portal. However, this bomb on a player will kill the portal, so they go in last. Everyone else goes through the portal out to this side. The bomb goes through last. And then they explode into big pools. We move around the room. There will be some DPS who get shackled together. This is a confusing mechanic, both on the dungeon journal. It's not entirely clear. I believe it shackles 2 people and they move away from each other to break it, but they want to be further out of the raid to reduce damage. It's not entirely clear. And then we repeat the same with the portals, and we enrage on the 4th portal cast. So there's a lot of very fine movement in this fight with avoiding knockbacks, doing these portals, doing the jump mechanic in the first phase with the expanding ring, using the portals to avoid the internal ring, and avoiding knockbacks during the ad phases. There's a lot going on.
It's a bit of Razageth, a bit of Sarkaroth, and a bit of Stone Legion Generals.
And Storm Stout Brewery. Fucking jumping
over.
over.
Stone Legion Generals are log off.
Yeah, it seems it's an interesting fight. It doesn't seem crazy difficult, but I imagine it'll be a matter of ensuring the portals are done properly and ensuring the bombs in the first phase to knock us up are done properly, and we'll be fine.
Cool.
That's it. That's all my raid plans.
So that's a lot of information to digest. When we get into Mythic, we'll be going back over these a bit more in depth based on the boss that we're on. I can highly recommend the little 8-bit mini game that Aliat linked and I said about before. Gives you a pretty brief, very, very brief overview on how they work. Watch up on the videos and stuff. Everyone should have access to all the channels now with the raid plans and associated videos for that too. Is there
currently
any
the videos? Currently the videos there are only heroic.
Yeah.
We haven't done mythic yet, but we will do.
Is there any further questions or points that anyone would like to make?
Is the raid plan pinned somewhere?
It'll be in each channel down
Okay,
Never Files. Yeah.
Could you stick up the PowerPoint too?
Yeah, I'll put the power.
It's in each of the channels already.
No, I mean the previous.
The one that I presented.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bonnie just.
I've got access to it, so I'll have to share it. One moment.
Yeah. Just obviously print it or share a non-editable version.
Yeah.
Cool. Any further points from?
Yeah. I just wouldn't mind a chat with the boys, like the officer lads, after if you got time.
Yep, for sure. Officers, anything else?
I think that was it.
No, I'm good. Those road plans were great, by the way.
Spicy, just wait in a channel, and I'll grab you when we are ready.
After Bonnie's after he's done, can I do the same?
Correct. Yes.
Tick.
Alright. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you on Wednesday.
Anyone got a
one last thing.
Yep.
I was just curious. I was promised a movie night, and there was no movie.
Hey, there's still time.
They're watching Spy Kids after this.
Are we able to get the Morky sound clip, please, for any of the people that can play the soundboard?
Oh, I can't even play the soundboard.
Oh.
We can do a.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks very much, guys. Have a great night. See you on Wednesday.
See you, man.
Yeet.
Connor, what are you doing?
I fucking got fucked!
This looks like it's actually genuinely good raid, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks pretty fun. Honestly.
Agreed.
The Silken Court is a boss which on Mythic is at the moment causing everyone to panic.
It looks fucking hilariously difficult.
There was a reference there about Stone Legion generals, so just be very cautious about calling it a good raid.
No, Stone Legion generals was a great fight. And you're wrong.
Oh yuck!
Stone Legion Generals is only acceptable because the last boss was cool.
Stone Legion
I mean, every other boss was cool.
Because they couldn't delete it after we had started.
Everyone come play Scribble.io as compensation for no movies.
You go from Sludge Fist to Stone Legion Generals, and then from Stone Legion Generals to fucking Denathrius. And it's like, okay, like banger, absolute dog shit, banger.
It was only dog shit if you played ranged. If you played melee, it was great.
Yeah, I played a magician.
That is a lie, sir.
Played outlaw rogue. It was fucking easy as piss, dude.
Yeah, with these takes, mate, you really are an outlaw.
Oh well, thanks for whoever worked on the plan who's still here. It seems like we're pretty prepared for this season, so I'm looking forward to that.
Should have given him a round of fucking applause or some shit, eh?
I did message Bonnie and I said, well spoken.
Response was, I'm already losing my fucking voice.
I hope you liked it.
I managed to get through the raid plans without stuttering like 10 times. It's only a couple.
That was good.
Kira,
a lot of information. But...
Just put the generic link up. You just put the generic scribble up. You creating a room?
I didn't. I created a room, yeah. How do I... Oh, yeah, copy.
Oh, yeah, no, thanks for
There
the
we go.
plan, boys. Pretty keen for Wednesday. Should be fucking
Pretty
Can we
awesome.
rewind a bit? I didn't realize I was meant to be watching Kara's stream.
Oh,
Yeah, you want to repeat that?
Elliot's like, sweet, I'm the only rogue.
Dude, how am I the only paladin? Fucking what?
They got nerfed, bro. People only play things if they're flavor of the month.
Yeah.
I mean, before you though, it was only real. It was like the only Pally, right?
We
And Jojo, but then Jojo.
Holy
said-
Pally? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did play Red at the start of season 4. And for the mythic, the invitational that we did.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna jump out. Then we'll have a chat with Spicy, and then Elliot. I'll grab you after.
Version to like, hello, and everyone who it is.
Hello.
It's just shifted. No one can see this one.
No. Fucking yeah. Just wondering if there's specifically like regarding like